If your e-bike charger gets hot while charging, the question is not, which part is bad? Yet, the first question is, where did the power path break or where is it struggling? Heat can show up from normal work, but it can also point to resistance, bad contact, or a fault. So before you replace anything, read the symptom as one clue in the system. Think of the bike as a chain. The charger sends power through the charge port to the battery pack. Inside the pack, the BMS manages protection and charge flow. Then the controller, display, and motor side tell you whether the bike wakes up and responds. If one link does not cooperate, the whole system can look confusing. That is why the exact bike design still matters. Inside the battery pack, the diagnosis gets more specific. The cells are grouped together, and the protection board watches what the pack is doing. So a charger getting hot does not automatically mean the charger is the main problem. It can also mean the pack is drawing current unevenly, refusing charge, or reacting to a condition the outside user cannot see. The inside changes the meaning of the outside symptom. Charging is a handshake, not just a plug-in. The charger needs a clean connection, and the battery has to be in a safe state for current to flow the way it should. If that handshake is not complete, the charger may warm up as it works against resistance or tries to start a transfer that never settles. So heat alone is not the diagnosis. It is part of the exchange. The first visible place to check is the charge port. A dirty, bent, wet, or loose port can create extra resistance right at the contact point. That can make the charger feel hot even when the real issue is the connection. Look closely before you buy parts. If the port is damaged or unstable, stop there and do not force it, because the symptom can be caused by the connection itself. Now bring in the BMS. This is the battery's protection gate. It decides whether charge should move through the pack safely. If the BMS sees a risky condition, it can limit or block that flow. That means the charger may work harder, feel warm, or seem suspicious, even though the pack is the one refusing the normal path. Do not force more testing if the pack behavior looks abnormal. The display and controller still matter here because they tell you how the rest of the bike is reacting. A dead-looking display does not prove the battery has failed, and a lit display does not prove the charger is healthy. But together, those signals help you see whether the bike is only having a charging problem or whether the power path is wider than that. Each clue narrows the system, not the whole answer. In a normal charge path, the power moves cleanly from charger to port to pack. In a fault, that flow stops, flickers, or gets diverted by resistance or protection logic. That difference matters. A hot charger with normal transfer is one story. A hot charger with no real transfer is a different story. Watch the movement on screen because the movement tells you where the system is getting stuck. Start with the safe external checks. Look at the plug shape, the port, the cable, and any visible damage. Check for looseness, scorch marks, moisture, or pins that do not sit right. You do not need to open the battery for this step. This is about finding obvious causes before you commit to replacement. If the outside path looks wrong, that is already useful evidence. Now watch the charger behavior. If the light changes when you plug in, that is one kind of evidence. If it does not change at all, that is another. A change can suggest the charger is seeing a load or a response. No change still leaves several paths open, including the charger, the port, or the battery side circuit. One light does not solve it, but it does move the decision forward. Next, check the battery seating path. On some bikes, the pack or rail contact has to sit just right before the system will behave normally. If that contact is poor, the bike can mimic a battery failure even when the pack is not the root cause. So the symptom may look electrical, but the cause can be mechanical contact at the bike side. That is why the fit matters as much as the power. Extra clues change the diagnosis boundary. If the display flickers, the lights drop out, the charger gets hotter over time, or you notice odor or swelling, the meaning changes fast. Intermittent behavior often points to unstable contact or a pack side problem, not a simple cable issue. This is the point where the visual clues matter more than guessing. The pattern tells you whether you are still in safe checking territory. The expensive mistake is buying the first part that sounds likely. People jump to a new battery, a new charger, or a new controller before they know which path actually failed. That can waste money fast. A hot charger is a symptom, not a shopping list. Use the evidence first. If the failure path is not proven, replacement is still a guess, even if the guess feels confident. There is also a hard stop boundary. If you see swelling, a strong odor, heat that does not make sense, or visible damage to the battery pack, stop home testing. Do not keep charging it and do not keep probing it as if it were a normal part. That is no longer a simple accessory check. At that point, the safe move is to step back and treat the pack as a possible hazard, not a routine repair. This is where bike design changes the next step. Two e-bikes can use the same general power path, but the layout, access points, and protection logic can be different. So the system map gets you oriented, but it does not replace the exact bike's layout. That is why you should use the bike-specific branch, not assume every charging problem follows the same route. Now choose the path that the evidence supports. If the charger behavior looks wrong, the charger path stays on the table. If the port is loose or damaged, the port path matters more. If the pack shows abnormal behavior, the battery path or professional verification becomes the safer choice. Do not force one answer. Let the evidence decide which branch is worth another step. The order to remember is simple. Symptom first, then system path, then safe external checks, then the evidence fork. After that, you use the full checklist for the bike you actually have. And if the battery looks damaged, you stop. That sequence keeps you from guessing, and it keeps you away from risky tests that do not match the problem you are seeing. For the full charging checklist, check the related guide or comment with your exact model and symptom. If you want help deciding whether the charger, port, battery, or bike side contact is the better next check, give the details you can see. The goal is not to replace parts by instinct. It is to match the fix to the actual failure path.